What's going on, collective? YouTube, what's up? All right, welcome back to Divine Timing. I'm Dion. All right, today we're going to talk about standing in your power, okay? Standing in your power. Standing in your power, that's a big one. You know, a lot of times when we're standing in our power, we're projecting. We're projecting from past pain and hurts. And we feel like, because we're bitching about something, male or female, whatever, that we're standing in our power. We saying something. But the truth is, you know, when you're standing in your power, all right, it's not for your ego. It's for your highest, greater good. You see, you're programming your condition to be people pleasers, and if you're not, then hey, I want to say, you know, that's a good job. But for most people, it's hard for them to stand in their power. They're standing in their power with their loved ones over petty shit and not standing on their power when it comes to principle and creating the life they want to live. They don't stand in their power when it comes to responsibility because, well, they've been taught the wrong way. So that's what I want to talk to y'all about. I want to talk to y'all about understanding innately inside of you, standing in your power, standing on business. There's a lot of energy that tries to deter us from standing in our power. But oftentimes it's an illusion that we need to get rid of. It's a lack mindset. And this is what prevents us from standing into our true power. And our true power is authenticity. So when we're keeping it real, right? If I'm showing somebody love that is powerful, right? If I go down to a food bank and help out, if I volunteer for a friend, I'm giving my energy to them. And with me making that decision, I'm standing in my power. Okay? Not playing the blame game to get away with something. That's not standing in your power. When you play mind games and think petty and say, well, I'm just going to worry about this situation right now, whatever, it's going to make it harder for you to truly stand into your authentic power because you're not standing in your authentic power. How could you understand it from the standpoint, other than an illusion, right? And so when you're standing in your power from an illusion, you're actually giving power away, okay? Because you're doing a back and forth, because you're taking on energies, because your lack mindset might suggest that, well, I'm not going to let whatever, okay? The back and forth is not authentic, all right? Lying on someone isn't authentic. Not keeping it real with someone isn't authentic, and thus that's not standing in your power. The more time you take care of yourself, love yourself, have compassion for yourself, okay, create peace for yourself, you're standing in your power. When you're working on yourself, you're standing in your power. When you're having the patience to see yourself and other people from an undeveloped standpoint and from a more advanced standpoint, you're standing in your power. When you show up consistently, you're standing in your power. When you say, my fault, my bad, all right, you're standing in your power, okay? So those are the things that help you stand in your power. And through adversity, we often feel like, it's not that important, but it is one of the most essential things if you're going to try to gain some type of foundation for yourself so that you may be fruitful and have focus and create the life that you want to live. All right. I'm Dion from Divine Timing. That's the message today. All right. If you like, then hit that like, share, subscribe button. All right. As I grow this channel. All right. And peace be with you all. All right. I love y'all so. I want y'all to know that. All right. I'm here to help, heal, to teach. Here to teach. All right. And to give advice when needed. Okay. I'm 42 years old. I've been spiritual for about 30 years, you know. Uh, and so I understand energy and I've been through quite a lot, but I believe that what I can offer is a learned perspective, which may be different than someone saying, man, I had to go through this and I had to go through that. See, I went through all of that, but I don't need to tell you that. But if you ask me some questions about whatever you need to ask as far as spiritual is concerned, then I could probably give you a good answer. All right. Because of the things and the knowledge that I've acquired with a different perspective, that's just a lot different than most folks that, fall into the victim trap. All right. So again, that's the message for today. All right. Stand in your power. All right. So that y'all can make a difference in your life. Don't, and one more thing, don't compete with your loved one. All right. Stand in your power with your loved one. So if you're a feminine, all right, get out of that masculine energy a little bit, stand in your power. All right. Because if you're a female, all right, and you do resonate as a true female, you might need to get off that masculinity a little bit, come in alignment, help things out a little bit, create a better environment. So stand in your power. However, have boundaries too. Don't let nobody run you over. And the individual that you're with, whoever, right? Make sure that they're standing in their power. All right. You can call on that, but you can't dwell on it. If people are going to be who they are, you got to just draw the line. All right. Because that's also standing in your power. Until next time, I'm sending you peace, love, and light. And Ashe. Peace.